All right, let's get right straight into it. Welcome back to the Sam Houston Sports Talk podcast. Collin Neill Luke Scott back at it once again. Bearcat football, tremendous win over the Hawai'i Rainbow Warriors. Volleyball takes 2 games out of 3 at the UTSA Roadrunner Classic. Men's golf begins their season. Soccer ends non-con on a high note. There's a lot to get to. Let's dive right straight into it. And but before we get right into it, be sure you subscribe to the podcast today. We're at 123 subscribers. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Subscribe right now. Luke, let's get straight into it. Football. I'm not gonna BS around this because I do want to kind of get to everything else. Try to make this pod short, but what a tremendous win for Sam Houston. 31-13 over the Hawai'i Rainbow Warriors. It was a close game at first, like we kind of predicted it, but it got pretty much in the Bearcats' favor as the game went on. The line closed at 3.5 or 4.5, whichever one of those, but Bearcats ended up winning by 18, nearly quintuple the original spread. Just Luke, I was on the sidelines, but I want to get your perspective first. From the TV screen, weren't able to come to the game, but you always find a way to watch the Bearcats play. What did you think of the performance?
Of course, Colin, I was down in Harlingen, Texas. I was on the border. We were down there dove hunting, and I had to watch the Bearcats play. Have to cover them, Colin. Can't miss a game. No, it was a good game, Colin. I actually don't think we played as well as I think we would have liked to against Hawaii. I think we gave them a few really fortunate um, just just a few mishaps there, kind of both on the defense and offense. But I thought it was definitely a great win, getting back a definite bounce back spot against UCF last time out, and we played really well defensively. Of course, Caleb Weaver once again played phenomenal, got that huge pick. And Armstead wasn't out there, right?
Nope.
And so some other guys had to step up, and I thought going up against that spread, that run and shoot offense, which it'll spread you out. I thought we played pretty well, and offensively, a few guys we're going to mention here in a little bit, but the offense looked way better than it did last time out, and it was kind of a lot more like Rice. And I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on the Cat fans forums. Plugging Cat fans real quick. Of the 8 quarters, Colin, that we've played against G5 teams, we have dominated 8 quarters. That's huge.
I,
That's huge. That's when you know you have a good team.
well, I think one big difference though, if you take Hawaii and Rice, you put them side by side. One big difference was the run game, and that was excuse me, a big part of it was Jay Ducker, the Memphis running back transfer. 15 carries, 146 yards rushing, including a big 86-yard run after Hawaii scored their first touchdown and just completely turned the game upside down. Especially Hawaii, with Hawaii scoring on the first drive of the second half. That was just a big deal, and it ended up giving in that run set up the touchdown pass from Hunter Watson to John Gentry. I mean, the running game was really good. The offensive line played a very clean game. That was something you pointed out to in the preview pod, is that the offense needed to play clean, and the defense did all did they did their they didn't they just some penalties that just shouldn't have happened, especially the targeting penalty.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Stuff like that happens all the time in a football game. And you just never know what's going to happen. But overall, when it comes to all phases of the game, with all phases, I think the Bearcats did really well, and that's why they won. And that's why they won. Watson, 2 touchdowns, some decent rushing yards as well. I can't remember the exact total, but uh,
3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. My bad. Two to Quavez Humphreys, one to John Gentry, like I just said, and and also Quavez Humphreys. Man, that dude's legit. I mean, I people were, questioning like, well, Keeler's talked about Quavius Humphreys so much, and last year when he wasn't even playing, and now we're truly seeing right now why they brought this guy over and from JUCO, and he has really showed out, and it opens up options for Adei, Smith, and Evans.
It does, and one thing I'd like to see more of is just getting him the ball more. He didn't have a huge target share. In the Rice game, we didn't see much of him really against UCF, and he definitely popped this game. I mean, 4 catches for over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. That last touchdown was incredible. I mean, going up and going over the top of the defender and stretching it, making the big play down the sideline. That's huge, and those are the kind of plays that offenses really fuel on, like ours, that get a big play, and it's just backbreaking. I mean, it was the same thing with that long run with Jay Ducker, the Memphis transfer. Hawaii is starting to get back in the game, and all of a sudden, bam, a huge 86-yard run, which sets up another touchdown. Those are the big explosive plays that we've been talking about that this offense, lacked against UCF, and just didn't see. There was a few against UCF or against Rice, but we wanted more. We saw that. You know, I I think I don't know if Hawaii was just ready for that. Um, but I just thought Hunter Watson played a solid game. He didn't have to do much. I mean, we averaged, it was like 5 a carry, a little over 5 a carry. Granted, that does take in a long 86-yard run, but we were running the ball pretty well. I think with that, Hunter Watson, he can run the ball as well. So it was just a good, solid game. I think we could have played better. We talked before we started recording this game. We could have easily put over 40 on Hawaii and didn't. But glad we won. It was a great showing. The crowd was great, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Um, I didn't see it, but apparently the drone show was great. Just a good night for Sam Houston Athletics.
It also helps though when Hawaii did not stay disciplined on their own, and a lot of penalties. I'm trying to find the number of penalties that they had. There we go. Hawaii had 14 penalties for 122 yards. That's a whole football field, including the end zone,
Yeah.
and a little bit more than that. Um, so Hawaii just put themselves in such a bad position. But that's that happens to every team where there are going to be games where you are going to have trouble with the penalties. The Bearcats, they only committed 4 penalties on 45 yards. And another thing I want to highlight, they controlled the time of possession. Those those scoring drives, like excluding the Ducker touchdown, they took a long time. They took their sweet time. They didn't try to go. They didn't try to go for the big play at first. I mean, they made big plays that got the crowd into it. But 34 minutes to 25 and a half minutes, you'll take that any day. 7 of 15 on third down. That's just below 50%. You also went 2 of 2 on fourth down, and that was on the last drive of the game to put it away. And you scored on you had 4 scores on 5 chances in the red zone. I mean, and guess what? Watson got sacked nil times. Overall, it was a great game. It was a great game, and
Yeah.
hopefully they can ride that momentum to New Mexico State. But what we hope happens again that happened with Hawaii, get another big crowd. It is homecoming. They are celebrating 100 years of the orange and white. 15,164 showed up against Hawaii. That was reportedly, I didn't say it was. I was saying that it was reportedly a record. Even in the books wise, it is a record. However, Colton Foster of the Huntsville Item was told by a team official saying that it was not the record, that Alcorn State was the record. I don't remember the exact number for Alcorn State, but I know it was over 16,000. The Alcorn State game back in 1994 when Steve McNair was the quarterback in the Heisman contender, and it was an afternoon nationally televised game on ABC. Yes, that ABC. And so, yeah, albeit though, lots of issues. There were issues. We do have to address those. The lines were extremely long. People were complaining. The crowd didn't even. The crowd, the whole lines were not gone until the end of the first quarter. Just about. They ran.
Yeah.
Uh, People said on Twitter that the concession stands ran out of water at halftime. So that and there was some other issues that I can't confirm nor deny, but Bearcat Athletics did address it, and they did put out a statement saying that they are working on the inconveniences so that way they don't happen again. But Luke, you talked about what your opinion on it was. But I will say that crowd was a very big part of the Bearcats winning. Like they really got into it, and hopefully it happens again against the Aggies this Saturday.
I think it will, Colin, and on the TV, and you could see it at kickoff, and between both teams' first drives. You saw that Hawaii's that sideline, right? I believe that's the east sideline. Yeah. You could just see it wasn't nearly full, and then as soon as you could kind of see it in the second quarter, it was packed.
Oh yeah.
It was such a good crowd, and night games also help with that. Day games are those kind of suck because this weekend was kind of hot.
Yes, it
Everywhere in
was.
Texas, it got hot. And the evening, it definitely helps with that. But no, it was just good to see Bauer Stadium filled up. I wasn't there, but I'm sure it was rocking. Um, just a happy thing to see a home opener, and it was a home opener that we won, and it's generating, more excitement, not just in the fan base, but also with students. I know students still on campus, right? Um, that they said it was awesome. I have a bunch of friends that were there. They said it was a great game to be at. The atmosphere was great. The tailgate, the pregame, and the I guess I don't know if it's called Bearcat Alley still, down there in the field, was awesome. Just a great way to open, but uh, can't celebrate too long. We got another game coming up this Saturday here.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, just to By the way, shout out the secondary. They did a tremendous job. You and I talked about how important they were going to be. You especially, said open field tackling, and they did that. Isaiah Cash had a great game. The Houston Christian transfer, Iman Allen also had a great game as well, filling in for Davion Armstead. That's the one thing that will probably go undersaid is that the Bearcat defense was without probably their number one corner.
Yeah.
So, and he was on the sideline. He did wear his jersey. Don't know his status. We'll hopefully find out during the press conference on Tuesday afternoon. But of course, shout out to Caleb Weaver. He won Conference USA Defensive Player of the Week. He had 3 solo tackles. He had 3 pass breakups, and he also had that interception. So he got Conference USA Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week. Shout out to him, and also, and most importantly, Luke. Shout out to all of Bearcat Nation that showed up because I was on the field for that game, and it was so awesome to see, and honestly I was just happy because new turf and just with the fans, and the turf feels great, by the way. Walking on it was awesome and just refreshing, and but yeah, it was awesome. The experience was awesome, and I hope to experience that again this Saturday when I'm on the field again. And
Colin, I'm gonna play a little game with you.
okay.
I want to play a little game with you. I'm going to go through the position groups, Colin. I want you to give me a grade and a reason why.
For the game or for so far this year?
For the game. For
Okay.
this game.
Okay, go ahead.
O-line group.
O-line group, I give them I give them a I give them I'll give them a B plus. If I want to be optimistic, A minus. But I thought zero sacks. That's you want to do that. The D line for Hawaii was penetrating a little bit, and they stopped the run game at first. But the O line got better as the game went on.
Yep.
Orion Irving did not play again, but it wasn't a huge factor this time around. I thought the O line played great. I think the more the O line plays, I think the more consistent the group is. It's gonna be much easier for those guys to operate in the trenches.
D-line.
D line, I give them an A minus. At first they were having trouble getting to Shager, but then as the game went on, the old line for Hawaii got tired. It looked like, and the D line just did amazing. Kendrick DeJour was really good. He's been getting a lot of playing time. I really like him. He's a guy I'm high on. Matthew Rivasala was amazing. Chris Murray also, he got a sack. He was named to the PFF All College Football first team for this past weekend. I don't know if you saw that, but that was a pretty cool list to see a Bearcat on. Bryson Hayes had a sack as well. He played pretty well, but yeah,
I thought Gaither played pretty good too.
Gaither played really good too. Yes, as a
I mean,
linebacker. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of yeah, true, a linebacker. But there was a couple times where he could have gotten. I mean, this D line. I know they only registered, I think, 2 sacks. There could have been a whole lot more. I think just watching it, just as the game went on, I feel like we could have gotten a few more
They
there.
they stopped that run game though. 56 total rush yards for Hawaii on 21 carries. 2.7 in
Yeah,
average per rush.
yeah, that's huge. That's huge. I mean,
Especially in that run and shoot. Especially in that RPO
eh,
run and shoot.
yeah, if you stop that, if you got that locked down, that keeps Hawaii pretty one-dimensional, right?
Yes.
Um, one more. This is a weird one.
Okay.
The tight ends.
Hmm.
This is a group that we were pretty high on coming into the year, and we haven't seen a whole lot from.
I that's a great point. I can't really honestly give you a grade except when it comes to their blocking. I think their blocking's been pretty decent. I'm gonna give them a B. I'm not gonna be too high or too low on them. I didn't really analyze that much on the time, but I thought the blocking for them was good this past go around. I would love to see them get more involved in the passing game though, because I think that's a good safety blanket for Hunter Watson to have. You look at in the league, you look in the NFL, like guys like Dalton Schultz for the Houston Texans, Ferguson for the Cowboys, Kelsey for the Chiefs, Jimmy Graham when he was with the Saints, Rob Gronkowski. Like, I mean, those guys were there for the
Dependable, very dependable.
dependable guys that QBs can rely on, not to just block the run, pass protect, but also catch the ball and get those cheap like 5 yards or so.
Call, I got another game for us. I got another game for us.
Too many games, man.
Who is the player that this game, right, against Hawaii, your MVP and your call out, a player that hasn't played well that you can get more from.
No disrespect with the call out when I say it, but MVP. I'm gonna put offense and defense together. MVP was definitely Caleb Weaver. I mean, he was a big reason why Hawaii did not. He was a big reason that Hawaii did not get great plays. Like it felt like everywhere the ball was thrown in the secondary, he was always there. He's my MVP, no doubt in my mind. If you want to put if you wanted me to throw an offensive MVP in there, I would say Quavez, because obviously 2 touchdowns, really good jump ball catches, and then outrunning the DBs, really nice. The call out I would say would be for defense. No disrespect whatsoever, but Isaiah Nixon's kind of struggling a little bit. We haven't really seen that pass rush that he got last year, that
Yeah.
pressuring that quarterback. I think I can find out his numbers from the last game. He did go down again he did go down again, but I believe we don't like to speculate. But if you know a thing or two, when those legs get lifted up, it is most likely a cramp. And cramps were a big theme this past go around for the defense that they were trying to get around. You go back. I mean, Nixon. Let's see. Nixon had, where is he? Well, I don't see Nixon on here on defense. Either way, he does. I don't think he doesn't. I don't think he has a sack this year, Luke. I think we got to see a lot better out on the outside because I mean the interior D line is really good. I really like our interior, but I think Nixon needs to get going a little bit. It's a long season. I think he had a bit of a slow start to begin the year. The one game I'm excited to see him against is Texas State.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be his
yeah.
breakout game because it's he's returning to his own team. Yeah, he had 5 tackles against UCF, so not bad, but he didn't register anything, and he has not gotten a QB hit this year so far. No sacks, uh, no TFLs. So he needs to try to get in there. So that's mine.
I will say, Colin, if you remember last year, Nixon kind of had a slow start too last
Yes.
year and then really picked it up in the middle of the season. So yeah, that's a guy that I'm not selling on at all right now.
And I think with Kendrick DeJour there as well, it does give Nixon some protection and Bryson Hayes as well. I think that outside rusher that out for that outside rusher, that's pretty good depth right there. I just think the
Yeah.
top guy Nixon just needs. I think it is a slow start. I think it's just the season. He's kind of had a bit of a rough few weeks. He went down against Rice. I think he went down again against UCF. He went down again against
Yeah.
Hawaii. So I think it's just a
Yeah,
very rough
he's
beginning. So I think he'll get going.
yeah, he's just been getting nicked up. He's
Yeah,
just been getting nicked up a few times. That's tough on the psyche too.
yeah,
I mean, just you go out there and you feel good and then, one thing after another, you just can't it's
yeah.
hard to gain that momentum, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, but well, either way, Bearcats won at 31-13. Great crowd. Let's see if y'all can do it again. Hashtag Pack Bowers and New Mexico State this Saturday at 6 p.m. That'll do it for the football talk. But before we get to the rest of it, be sure you subscribe today to CNBC Sports Talk. And we're also on Twitter. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. So be sure you follow us there as well. We've passed 500 followers on Twitter/X. That was pretty awesome to see. We had a lot of engagement, and it was awesome for the people to see. It does help when you're on the sideline recording those scores. That was pretty awesome. Like I said, pretty awesome experience. But yeah, looking at the other sports for Sam Houston, men's golf began their season. They're just today. They're in Cincinnati and at the Bearcat Invitational with the C, not a K. Right now, if I remember correctly, are at sixth place at the yes, they're sixth place. They're below Iowa State, Little Rock, Cincinnati, Kansas, and Louisville. Louisville is leading the pack very well. Luke, they're 6 under par. Bearcats are at 7 over par. Um, Brett Gray shot 72 and then a 76. German had shot a 74 and a 72. They did 2 rounds. Overall, the team shot 285 in the first round and 290 in the second round. So, still got some work to do. They can still try to win it. They can still try to win it tomorrow. But so far, top five. If they can get a top five finish to begin the year, look, that's a great start.
Huge start, and you hear sixth place and you think, oh, that's not that great. Well, it's sixth out of 18 teams, right? And
Yes.
so, you'll take six, as of right now. I think you'll take that right here. And what's kind of weird is that Louisville, North Kansas are really known, uh, huge golf powers. But it looks like Louisville might have a pretty good team this year, and seeing Sam right up there with the best of them. Always encouraging. We know this golf program, Colin, is um, consistent, great.
Yes.
There's just, I mean, they are uh, as pretty much close thing as you could say to a Fortune 500 company. I mean, they just take care of business each time they're out there. So solid start so far. We'll see if we can crack that top five, but looking good, early on though.
And I think this is a big year for them. They didn't get an at-large bid last year. It wasn't the best year, and they finished second in the Conference USA tournament. So close, so close to at least getting an automatic, but they weren't able to get an at-large. I
Yeah.
mean, they ended the year on a solid note. It was just the beginning of the year that they were just did not perform well, and that most likely caused them to not get an at-large bid. But like I said, though, if they can finish top five to begin the season, I think they can put themselves in a good position to do just that. And they're gonna have to rely on guys like Brett Gray and Josh Durman, but like we said last week about Kishnet, he is going to find a way, and he's been there, done that. I think they'll be fine this year. I think they'll make
Hey,
it.
I just want to shout out. I want to shout out Sam Stribling, on the golf team, Georgetown guy.
Mm.
Uh, I wonder. I might have gone to school with his sister. Don't know that last name is a relation there, but shout out Sam Stribling, Georgetown Eagle.
Well, sometimes that happens where they have persons from the same hometown, same last name, but they're not related. I've gotten
I,
that.
I I graduated with three Scots, so
No relation.
no relation.
No relation whatsoever. Moving on to volleyball, they had a bit of an up and down weekend at San Antonio at the UTSA Roadrunner Classic. They put up a decent fight against Alabama, 3-1 loss, but the sets were pretty close. Then they came back later on that day on the same day they lost to Alabama and swept Central Arkansas 3-0. But they unfortunately lost a close one, a thriller against the host team, the UTSA Roadrunners, in 5 sets, 3-2. But individuals got honors. Mackenzie Morvant got all tournament team, and Hannah Baker got named Conference USA Defensive Player of the Week after recording 66 digs over the 3 matches, and that got her career mark of digs past 2,000. She is the first Bearcat in program history to even reach that mark to begin with. So, but Luke, it's kind of the same theme as last year. They start out decently in at the beginning of the year. They're 4-5. They're 4-5, right? Or not? They're not 4-5. Excuse me. That's got to be wrong. They're not 4-5 overall. Are they? Actually, no. They are 4-5 overall. But yeah, it was right. I'm just being stupid. But they got one more non-con. They got 2 more non-cons to go. They got to play Lamar and Texas Southern. I think it's huge if they can try to take both of those because it's especially at home in Huntsville, Texas. But Luke, it's starting to look a lot like last year where they had a decent start to the year, being around a 500 team. But then once conference play came around, we all know what happened. They got absolutely overmatched, it looked like last year. Hopefully it doesn't happen again this year, and that's why I think finishing off the non-conference schedule on a high note is important for the rest of the year.
I think so. Yeah. Well, one thing I would like to mention with this team is that we've seen throughout these different tournaments that they've been a part of, we've seen different Bearcats get highlighted on
Mm-hmm.
all tournament teams. Morvant right here. Fowler was the one before. Uh, Pronunciation is going to kill me. Plenikova
Penakova, yes.
pe
Michaela
got
Penakova.
got the one before that. So, um, you're seeing a plethora of Bearcats being recognized and playing good in all these different tournaments. We just got to put one together, all together. Hannah Baker, of course, is all-time tough name actually since the that one show, but uh, tough volleyball player, man. She's all over the hardwood, left and right, digging them out, the libero. But
Yeah.
she's yeah, one of the best Bearcats to ever do it, right on the volleyball side of things. So you got to recognize her. But this team, you talked about it. We're right there, 500, a little under 500. We're gonna figure out what this team is made of during the conference season for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
But what's good to see, I think there's much improvement from last year.
Yeah, I think there is too. The errors have definitely gone down. I still think they can. I still think they can. Not try to give up many free points, because that's the one thing about errors, that they're free points for the other team. You gotta
Yep.
try to make the other team earn the points at the end of the day. Like I said though, they will be
But
back at home in Huntsville, and they have a shot to get over 500.
yeah, and calling that UTSA game, that was matchable. I mean, that was winnable,
Mm-hmm.
not matchable, winnable. Um, and that Alabama, we dominated the second set. I was watching it. We were driving down to Harlingen. I was watching it on my phone. We dominated the second set. It was like 25-12 or 10 or something like that. And then the next two, we were right there in it. I mean, it was that could have easily been a win, a complete sweep, 3 wins in a row. So yeah, you would have liked to get two of the three, but I think still plenty of positive to take away.
By the way, in that game against UTSA, Avery Fowler had 44 assists. Avery Fowler has been a very big key part of this Bearcat volleyball team, and she will continue to do so. Like I said, Lamar, Texas Southern, that's all they got left. They'll take on Lamar on Friday night. I will be at the game. I am broadcasting once again on ESPN Plus. So if you want to hear my beautiful voice once again, how about you tune in, because you're gonna hear me again. And I will be, and guess what? I will be doing a public address announcing for the rest of the 2 games on Saturday. I'm doing the 10 a.m. game and the 1 p.m. game, and then it's football right after that. So I got a very busy 2 days ahead of me. And have I studied at all yet? I've not begun that yet. But it's a Monday, so I think I can take that. I can take it as an off day, so I think I'll be fine.
No days off, Colin. Colin, no days off. You got to get on that.
Yeah, I got to. I got to. I know better than that. I know better than that. But yeah. One more thing to get to before we wrap things up. Soccer ends their non-con. They were able to beat Southern 1-0 thanks to Indigo Sims, a 49th minute goal. Luke, you thought that this was going to be a blowout in Sam Houston's favor, but it ended up being a very close game. I don't think it's something to really bother about or worry about at the moment. Excuse me, but I it's it, conference play is going to be interesting. I will say that.
Couple things to take away, Colin.
Okay.
Clean sheet. We got the clean sheet. Got the shutout. That's huge, right? That's huge for the back lines, confidence. Pretty much the whole team's confidence.
Yeah.
Colin, it's senior night. It's senior night. I thought we were gonna destroy them. You'll take the clean sheet. You'll take the 1-0 victory. 1-0. You'll take the victory. But Colin, I was expecting 3-0, 4-0. It's Southern. Southern sucks. I mean, they just do.
Yeah, but to begin conference play against New Mexico State, um, it is Pack the Pritchett. They want to try to beat the attendance record this Thursday, September 19th, of course at home. Pack the Pritchett versus New Mexico State at 6:30. I might actually drive it. I might actually travel to Huntsville for that game and just stay a few nights there. Just for the heck of it. I do want to try to be at that game, see if they do break the record is broken. And, of course, it's the beginning of conference play. They got to have a strong start, though, in conference play if they want to put themselves in a good position to get back in the Conference USA tournament.
Definitely agree, and we know this team can do it. We know it's built. We are so high on Coach Sonia Carvalho, nah, whatever. Colin, we know this team can do it. We're gonna pack the Pritchett, and we're gonna win that game.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Real expert analysis there, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, that will end things here for this podcast. Once again, just a quick recap. Sam Houston football winning 31-13 over Hawaii. Bearcat Volleyball winning 1 of 3. They look to end non-con on a high note this week. Bearcat Men's Golf began their season. They look to try to finish top 5 to begin the season, and soccer ends their non-con. They're going to look to try to begin conference on a high note, pack the Pritchett on Thursday. But, of course, as well, be sure you are there for Saturday's football game again for Sam Houston versus New Mexico State, celebrating 100 years of the orange and white, and it's also homecoming. So be there. Let's see if y'all can pack bars once again. Let's see if we can break that record for sure. Let's see if we can get the attendance number past the Alcorn State game. So
what was the number?
I think
Did they say
16,100 something. I can't remember the exact number.
And what were we at?
15,134. So we were 1,000 below.
All right.
It's gonna be tough.
Right.
It's gonna be tough, but hey, y'all show out, especially for the players. They had nothing but great things to say about the crowd. But nonetheless, this will do it for another podcast for Sam Houston Sports Talk. That's Luke Scott. I'm Collin Neill. Be sure you subscribe today. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let's get that subscribe number up. We're at 123. Let's try to get that sucker up, and also follow us on all of our social media platforms. Thank y'all once again. Of course, as always, eat 'em up, cats.
Eat 'em up.